Hi, Sam here from Roberts Geospatial. Let's take a look at the new features in ProRaster Scientific version 2.2. So 2.2 is a breakthrough upgrade. It marks a transition from developing for ProRaster Essential and ProRaster Premium to focusing all development effort on ProRaster Scientific. ProRaster Essential is now feature complete, although it will continue to be upgraded with core improvements that will filter through from the ProRaster Scientific work. Price on the Microsoft Store for ProRaster Essential has been dropped to $29 US. ProRaster Premium is also complete, although you can expect that some new features will continue to be added over time as they're developed for ProRaster Scientific. And the price on the store for Premium is now $59 US. So let's take a look. Here's the ProRaster Scientific web page. Hit the Get It from Microsoft button and that will bring up the Microsoft Store where you can purchase the product. So development work on ProRaster Scientific continues to focus on multispectral satellite imagery processing, and the key themes for this release are improving user productivity, improving processing efficiency, and improving application performance. So let's take a look around the main dialogue. So firstly down here you'll find these two buttons, firstly for managing your satellite scenes and secondly for managing your satellite products. And over here the publish button that's in Premium and Essential is a processing button. Now these are all drop menu buttons, so if you click the button it will open up a scene database, or it will bring up a dialog asking you to select which scene database you want to view, or you can click down on the button and you'll find all these options for processing your scene databases. The same with the product database. Click the button, it'll bring up the database, or you can browse to them from here and there are other options. Click down on the processing button and you'll find all of the processing operations, and a lot of these are either a single operation or you can run them as a batch processing operation. So there's a new feature called the time control panel. Let's take a look at it with a bit of a demonstration. So I'll create a new algorithm for a raster source. I'm going to choose Blue Marble. So this is a NASA Blue Marble imagery, and this has been collected. There are 12 time points in this data set, so we'll be able to click through those time points and see the world change over a period of a year. So each time point is separated by 1 month. So what should we do? Let's change the projection to mile wide. Let's zoom in here on Europe, and over here we have a button for the time control panel. Click on that, up she comes, and you can just click forward. So currently we're at the end of December, in the middle of winter in the northern hemisphere, and as we click forward you'll see the snow start to recede across Europe, now in summer, and as we go into autumn and then winter again, the snow comes back across the continent. So the time control panel provides an alternative to modifying these drop lists for the time range that you'll find in each component property page. And of course it's really focused on satellite multispectral data for sequence products where you have model time points. Up here there's a new button. This is for refreshing the current algorithm, so hit the refresh button and it will reload that algorithm. On the options property page there's a new option here called only load and show the current algorithm. So that will unload all the algorithms that you're not currently editing from memory and free up memory and resources. There are new tooltip. Go back to the normal projection. So there's some new tooltip options. Firstly, you can just show coordinates. So here's our coordinates. and if you want, you can format them in a particular way. So let's put it into longitude, latitude, and so that's some new tooltip options. Related to that, on the layer page, there's this option here called Report Cell Value. So you can turn that off if you don't want a layer to actually report a value at all. So turn that on. Now I'm getting a value. In this case, it's a red, green, blue. Probably not interested in that thing. So you can turn it off and you won't see it. And if you had something like terrain, so if we put in merit terrain, and so we can report the value from the terrain rather than from the color using that option. On the component property page, you'll see this little checkbox here. When this is checked on, any changes that you make in these properties will be mirrored in all the other components or all the other similar components in that layer. So you can change the time properties here and it will propagate to all of the other components in that layer. Related to that is one on the red, green, blue property. So let's go into our scene database, select a scene and render it, turn on some pan sharpening, and so here's our satellite scene. This is Landsat data. Turn the tooltip off. So if we go into the red component and hit the color property page, you see there's a little checkbox here. Now when this is checked on, all these data transform properties, if you modify them in this red component, they'll get mirrored down in the green, blue and pan components. So if I come in here and say change that, you'll see that that's made it a bit lighter. Down here in blue, it's been mirrored in there. If I change this sigmoid lightning transform, or maybe just turn it to a linear, again it's mirrored in these other components. So that makes it just easier to make a change in one place and have it mirrored in all of the other components. There's a new property page for multispectral satellite data, the satellite multispectral options property page. Most of these options relate to duplication of the scene imagery. Now, as a general rule, we never duplicate anything. But you can, and there are options there to control that, and you can read the manual to find out about that. So ProRaster Scientific version 2.2 introduces some enormous productivity improvements in satellite multispectral processing. And the most influential addition is the Create Product Sequence Wizard. So this tool has been added to make it super easy to generate and edit and extend and regenerate product sequences. So it's now a single step to go from a scene database to for example, a collated mosaic sequence product. So this tool really changes the game. It improves productivity by orders of magnitude. So it's down here, hit the Create Product Sequence Wizard, and then you click through the wizard to create your product sequence, or to edit it, or to regenerate it. So for example, when you're creating a sequence, say a collated mosaic sequence, you have to create a collated mosaic product for each temporal point in the sequence. You might have a couple of hundred of those. So that's a big exercise. This now does the whole thing in one step. The advantage, of course, is productivity. The other advantage is that it eliminates errors, because when you're doing something 100 times, you're going to make errors. It's almost inevitable, and so this wizard really cleans up that problem. Once you've created your product, it's now easier to generate spectral index virtual rasters and to render them. So there are new selection controls in the spectral index operation dialog, and there are new color table maps shipped with the product for many commonly used spectral indices, and the system will automatically select and use those color table maps in any new rendering algorithms that you create. And you can add your own, you can override the shipped color tables. So creating a standard rendering of a spectral index is now a single-click process. So let's do that. Let's go back to browsing our scenes. Let's select this one in the Amazon. I'll create a scene product. Now for this scene product, I'm going to generate a spectral index. So there's a new drop list here with the most commonly used spectral indexes. So here's normalized different vegetation, moisture, various other vegetation indexes, your burn ratios and so forth. So let's choose NDVI. If you click that off, you'll find all these other spectral indexes that you can use as were there before. And of course there's 100 of them or more. But let's go back to just choosing NDVI, hit OK. Now we've got our spectral index. Let's display it now, and we have a rendering prepared for us. If we go into the color page, you can see that it's chosen a system color map called NDVI, which is the index that we computed, and it's chosen the NDVI color table. So we have a standard rendering that will look the same every time you create a spectral index. And if you zoom in, you see blue for water, green for healthy vegetation, and brown for degraded vegetation. So the image export dialog has been upgraded to do batch export. So let me go back to, let's just get rid of all of these. Let's go to an algorithm for blue marble. I'll save that as something. Now we can export it, remembering that we have 12 time points in this algorithm. Hit the image export dialog, and here we have this single new option, batch export by temporal event. So if you switch that on, it's going to be just like using the time control panel. It's going to click through all of those events and export an image for each one, and the images will be sequentially numbered, and you can then take those images straight into video editing software. For example, OpenShot, which is free, will automatically import those images and then generate a video from that, a time-lapse video from that imagery for you. So ProRaster Scientific version 2.2 greatly improves performance and efficiency. So just briefly, the native TIFF driver has been upgraded to support cloud-optimized GeoTIFF. So this yields many benefits, particularly with Landsat scenes. It saves time, storage, and memory. Also, the native ECW JPEG 2000 driver has been upgraded to better support Sentinel-2 scenes. And the virtual raster driver has been improved to drastically reduce raster mounting time, and this really improves the responsiveness of the UI when you're building satellite products and processing cascades. One critical upgrade is support for Sentinel-2 processing baselines 4 and 5, and this has resulted in many changes to Sentinel-2 scenes. The most critical thing is that data is now transformed from digital numbers to reflectance using parameters that are supplied in the metadata with the scene. So if you're still converting your digital numbers to reflectance using just a standard scaling factor, your reflectance numbers are not right. So this is a critical improvement or a critical change that has to be supported. Finally, ProRaster ships with lots of new color tables. Let's see if we can show those. Go into the color page. So firstly, we have a whole bunch of color tables from the Color CET project. these are perceptually uniform color tables. They're all these CET-somethings. They're all shipped now with the product. And we also have all of the, for example here, the spectral index color table maps that are shipped with the product as well. So with the release of version 2.2, ProRaster Scientific realizes my primary development goal, which is to provide a groundbreaking multispectral satellite processing, rendering, and interpretation capability at a very low price. ProRaster Scientific is easy to use. You do not have to be a data scientist. It's computationally efficient. You can run it on everyday PC hardware. And it is resource efficient. It requires very little storage space in addition to the storage space you require to store the original satellite imagery. There's no supercomputer required, just a Windows laptop or a desktop, a good internet connection, and some SSD storage. So I hope you benefit from the new features in ProRaster Scientific version 2.2.